Okay, I think we're gonna have a bit of an early start right here, or at least there are some people that are in line so far. Do we have things rolling right over here? Just want to double check. Just want to know if everything's okay. Okay, first off, people in the chat wall, can you hear me? First of all, I sent in the alarms about this happening. So, is everybody doing all good so far? Just want to know, are we all fine? All right, yes, okay. Everybody, okay, so good. Everybody's here, I see. Okay, good. Now that things are going well, first of all, I just want to say, yes, welcome back to, part 2 of this week's AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, and so far, as you could tell, I am going solo. Once again, I want to thank Joey Tedesco for his great help in the previous one, or at least in the first part, helping me out sorting through all the trailers and having a good time and having a good chat with him. This was definitely a lot of fun, but this time, this is going to be part 2, where now I am going to be looking into the big news that happened this week in animation. However, I just want to go and keep in mind about for this particular episode that I'm only going to be talking about 3 stories instead of going with the usual 5. So I'm just going to be looking into the 3 big animation news that did happen this week, just focusing on the news instead of the trailers that happened. So you could either consider this as a really short episode or just part of a really long episode. So there you have it. So before we go ahead and get things started and going into the madness, do we have any questions? Do we have any comments? Does anybody have any questions regarding what's going to be going on regarding this particular episode? Just want to hear. Let's see. No, I'm not. This part will not include the what's happening with the whole Nickelodeon president. It's just a little too recent, and I mean, like, with so many things happening, I already got stuff prepared that I really want to talk about. So, I don't know. Maybe next time if there's continuing events that's happening with it. But for now, yeah, we're gonna be skipping that Nickelodeon thing. Okay, so I think at this point, people seem to be ready right now, other than that. How's my life? Doing pretty good so far, doing pretty good, and I see more and more people, starting to come in. Okay. No, I'm not, oh, and also, like, I know that just today they did reveal the release date is going to be, at the end of January of 2019 for Kingdom Hearts 3, but I'm not going to be talking about that either. It's just going to be the 3 main stories. Okay, so, I think we got the questions out of the way so far. So, with all that said and done, are you guys ready for this week's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, or at least the part 2 of it? Just want to see, is everybody ready? Just waiting for the chat wall to see if people are prepared. Well, okay, I see some people are. Good. Okay, yeah, definitely. Okay, perfect. So, we are all ready. Yes, I know that I just want to go ahead and start things off by discussing... Now, I know a lot of people are freaking out regarding the recent events with what's going on with the president of Nickelodeon. However, there is one other piece of news that recently did happen that, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we are pretty much what we got is far bigger than any of that. In fact, I could even debate I was hoping we get some E3 coverage. E3 is only starting, dude. Wait until there's more stuff happening. But anyways, all right, as I was saying, not only would this count as one of the biggest animation news of the year, but probably of the decade. And this is a really huge one, because now we know what's been happening with John Lasseter. And he is not sticking around. Yes, it is official. John Lasseter is going to be leaving the Walt Disney Company. On Friday, which is on June 8th, the Walt Disney Company released a statement that John Lasseter will be exiting the Walt Disney Company and will be leaving from his position at the end of the year. Now, for those of you who don't know what has happened, well, what the fridge, or where the fridge have you been? Anyways, to be serious though, the thing is, what happened with John Lasseter is that he was actually caught with the hashtag #MeToo movement, where apparently it was revealed that throughout his position at Pixar and Walt Disney Animation Studios, that he has been doing some sexual misconduct, where he has been doing some things that are not necessarily okay. Like, he hasn't gone to the extremes, like full-on sexual harassment or full-on sexual assault or stuff like that, but the problem is that he would go and he would like have long awkward hugs. There have been reports of like grabbing women's legs or kissing them on the lips. Like, he has been doing a lot of stuff that's been pretty uncomfortable. And it was on November of last year that everything was pretty much uncovered, and from there, John Lasseter just left in what is said to be a 6-month sabbatical. And ever since then, nobody has ever heard from him since. There was even the premiere of The Incredibles 2, I believe it happened this week, where John Lasseter was not only just there, but there have been people who have been commenting regarding what happened to John Lasseter, and they don't even know. Like, there was even a comment from Brad Bird himself stating that he only knew as much about what happened to John Lasseter as much as the public knew about it. So it was pretty much a great big mystery of whatever happened to John Lasseter, but it looks like it is revealed that he's not sticking around and he's pretty much leaving. So what's happening right now is that he's not necessarily going to be back in the same position, but he will now only be taking a consultant role until the end of this year. So on December 31st, 2018 will be his last day working at Disney, and then he's just going to leave. And from there, we also got a statement from both CEO Bob Iger and even John Lasseter himself. Yes, for the first time since November, we are finally hearing the words of John Lasseter himself. So let's go ahead and just read from a quote here from Bob Iger in terms of his statement, as it says that John had a remarkable tenure at Pixar and Disney Animation, reinventing the animation business, taking breathtaking risk, and telling original high-quality stories that will last forever. We are profoundly grateful for his contributions, which included a masterful and remarkable turnaround of the Walt Disney Animation Studios. One of John's greatest achievements is assembling a team of great storytellers and innovators with the vision and talent to set the standard of animation for generations to come. And then we have also gotten a quote from John Lasseter himself in which it states, here. Just put it here so that at least now it could be cleared. Let's see. It says that the last 6 months have provided an opportunity to reflect on my life, career, and personal priorities. While I remain dedicated to the art of animation and inspired by the creative talent at Pixar and Disney, I have decided the end of this year is the right time to begin focusing on new creative challenges. I am extremely proud of what two of the most important and prolific animation studios have achieved under my leadership, and I'm grateful for all the opportunities to follow my creative passion at Disney. So from there, what's going to happen right now? What's going to be happening at Disney and what's going to be happening at Pixar? Now, word is pretty much circulating right now that, of course, you might have heard of this, the fact that Jennifer Lee will be taking John Lasseter's place at Walt Disney Animation Studios and that Pete Docter will be taking the place of John at Pixar. However, there is no official word just yet on if that would actually be the case. So far, they're still in the category of rumors. We don't know if it's truly confirmed that if those two people are going to be replacing John Lasseter's place at Disney. But what's actually very interesting about it is that we've also gotten word about what's going on a little bit about within the Disney studios, what's happening in the Disney community, and you could tell that times have truly changed. Like, I'm using my source here in Variety to tell you the main aspect of the news, but there's also this article from Deadline that really does go into detail about what is going on, because apparently within the studio, the thing is that a lot of people are not okay with John Lasseter, even to this day, because the thing with John Lasseter is the fact that he is now a very controversial figure. I mean, there are still some people that do love him. They still appreciate what he has done for the medium of animation and what he has done for movies in general. And then there are others that they really don't like him. Like, they put John Lasseter into the pile of the sexual predators caught in the hashtag #MeToo movement. And I mean, this might sound extreme. There are still some people to this day that they don't see him any different than people like Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. Like, bad touch is like any form of rape to them, no matter what. So at this point, he is an extremely controversial figure where some people do love him and some people absolutely hate him. And even within Disney, there are some people that don't necessarily want him. There is actually one percentage. Ah, yes, there it is. There is this one little quote here stating that one well-placed source told Deadline there was a gathering sense that employees didn't really want Lasseter to return. Some even threatened to quit, according to another person familiar with the matter. Indeed, some in the animation community started a hashtag Lose Lasseter campaign on social media and launched a petition on change.org demanding his ouster. And then from there, we also got a quote talking about the reason why John Lasseter had to go, like why it's the right decision for him to not stay at Disney and Pixar. And it's coming from the Women in Animation president Marge Dean, in which she stated that misconduct is no longer tolerated in the workplace and the safety of all employees has become a priority for our industry. Women in animation support and celebrate that change with the expectation that it will encourage retention of women in the animation workforce. Pretty much quoting that ever since John Lasseter left, the environment within the workforce in general, and I'm not just talking about animation and I'm not just talking about the entertainment industry, but the workforce in general, where everything has pretty much changed, and this form of tolerance is no longer acceptable. Like, misconducts of any kind is going to be out there. Like, it's pretty much going to ruin your entire reputation at this point. And honestly, for someone like me, like, I do feel pretty mixed. Like, I do understand why they got to do it, but there is also a part that is kind of going to be sad at this point. I know it's a little bit controversial to say, but there will be aspects that I will miss about having John Lasseter as the leader of Disney animation. Like, especially how he's doing so well nowadays, really taking Walt Disney Animation Studios and really leveling up to the powerhouse that it is nowadays. Like, it used to be the company that would make pieces of crap like Home on the Range and Chicken Little, and now they're doing like some of the biggest hits of all time, like Frozen and Zootopia. But then again, I did actually have the feeling that they are not going to tolerate it. At least the people of Disney are not going to tolerate the fact that they're going to have John Lasseter on board. And the reason why I say that, like, I kind of knew that this was going to happen. And the reason why I say that is actually due what it actually says here. Disney, which acted decisively in the case of Roseanne Barr's racist tweet, where you could tell that Disney right now is in a position where they are going morality over money. Because, you take a look, for example, at the controversy with what happened to Roseanne Barr. Because the thing is, she put in one racist tweet and they immediately decide to cancel her show entirely, which is absolutely shocking considering that the Roseanne revival was one of the most successful shows on television, at least in this day and age. At least like in terms of the ones that are currently happening in television right now. She was like one of the biggest shows. And because she made that one racist tweet, because she acted like a pure bigot, they decided, she was just a ticking time bomb and they gotta let her go, because the more they keep holding her, the more she's going to drag down her own reputation and Disney's reputation with it. And the same case would be with John Lasseter, where John is no longer viewed as like this master of animation. He's no longer like the current leader of animation like how we used to see him before November happened and before the hashtag Me Too movement occurred, where he was once praised, and people look at him as kind of like this animation messiah, like the closest thing we got right now to Walt Disney so far. But then this happened, and his his view, like how we view John Lasseter has totally changed, where we do see him now as a bit of a flawed individual. And Disney did try their best to go and try to really cover it, to make sure that nobody knew about this kind of incident that John Lasseter is doing. But then suddenly things slipped up, and now it's being uncovered that now we know who John Lasseter really is behind the curtains, and we see a bit of his dark side, which is not necessarily appealing, and it does kind of hurt the reputation of the Disney brand. It's something that they don't really want to try to envision, like this is who Disney is. Like, they don't really want that to happen. So I know at this point this is going to be something that people are, I'm sure right now, people are pretty much celebrating with this decision. But I will say, though, there is one thing I will say, and I've said this on Twitter, that, you gotta hand it to him. Whether you like John Lasseter or not, the guy is going down at least with some form of dignity. At least more so than, kind of the others. This is more, he's going out with dignity more so than somebody like Chris Savino or John Kay, or even, Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein or something like that. He's not going down in misery. You could tell, at least John Lasseter is presenting himself that he is going out with his head held high, and he is going to look out for new horizons in the medium of animation. And even the quote that he brought out even stated that it was actually his choice to go and leave. It's actually said, where the fridge is it? Oh, right here. It says that while I remain dedicated to the art of animation and inspired by the creative talents at Pixar and Disney, I have decided by the end of this year is the right time to begin focusing on new creative challenges. And I do honestly believe, John, that it was his choice to actually go and leave Disney. Because you gotta keep in mind, not too long ago, a few weeks ago, it was actually reported that Disney is actually considered, Disney was actually considering to keep John Lasseter. They were thinking, okay, maybe we'll keep John Lasseter, but we're going to minimize his role. They were thinking of downgrading a little bit of his contribution at Disney, where he'll still have his creative choices, still be a major influence, but he won't be in charge of the employees, and he won't have the choice to know who's going to be hired and who's going to be fired and stuff like that. They wanted to keep him, but it seems like this is indicating that it was John Lasseter's choice, that he knew that some people are not okay with him to be around, so he decided to go and leave out. He decided, okay, I know I'm not wanted here, so I'm going to choose to leave. So at this point, we don't know what the future is going to hold. And I'm sure that's probably one of the scariest things, that people are frightened to know what's going to happen within the future of animation, not just with Disney, but with the whole medium in general in terms of movies. Because you got to admit, with John Lasseter, he really is a major powerhouse that kept both Pixar and Disney at the top of the animation food chain. And it's like I said before, he managed to pick up Walt Disney Animation Studios, making movies that used to be both from, they used to make movies like Home on the Range and Chicken Run, and now he elevated to some of the best animated features of the decade that we have, and some of the most successful ones as well. It's thanks to John Lasseter that now Disney is making such amazing movies, such as Tangled, Frozen, Moana, Wreck-It Ralph, Zootopia, Big Hero 6, 6, and so much more, while still maintaining Pixar at the same time, which, yeah, maybe they're not releasing amazing hit after amazing hit, but Pixar is still making some strong movies, and even some of the most successful movies that they've ever done. Especially when you got Finding Dory and Toy Story 3 now breaking the $1 billion mark, and still releasing some highly acclaimed animated features, including Coco and Inside Out. So really, without John Lasseter, a lot of people are afraid that if he leaves, then what's going to happen to Disney animation? What's going to happen to Pixar animation? Whoever is going to replace John Lasseter, maybe it's going to be Jennifer Lee and Pete Docter, or maybe it's going to be someone else, but will they be able to go and actually lift things up for Pixar? Are they actually going to manage to follow John Lasseter's footsteps and still continue the legacy that Disney is going? Or what people are afraid of the most right now is just if we're going to enter a dark age in Disney animation or animation in general, where you never know if it's going to be after Walt Disney passed away and when we go into the 70s, where no other animation studio is capable of picking things up and where Disney left off, where not even Disney themselves would be capable of doing what Disney used to do. That's kind of like the nightmare scenario that people have. But for now, we can only wish for the best. So honestly, with that said and done, I just want to say right now for John Lasseter, yeah, you really did screw up, and what you have done to women, yeah, that's really messed up, dude, and you really got to check yourself, and hopefully you've gotten the help that you need to go and get past that, especially the fact that you have a wife and a bunch of kids. But I do thank you for your amazing contributions that you have done for animation in general, not just with Disney and Pixar, but you really have been one of the greatest influence in animation history, and that is something that I don't think anybody is going to forget. And from there, I do wish you the best of luck in the future, that hopefully you may still be able to help influence and to help thrive in the field of animation, maybe without Disney, and hopefully without any of the misconduct without the misconduct things, without any of the awkward hugs and stuff like that. But I do wish you the best of luck in the future, and to whoever is going to be replacing John Lasseter's role, rather it be either Pete Docter, Jennifer Lee, or maybe it would be someone else, but I do wish them the best of luck to carry on the torch of the leadership at Disney Animation and really continue the ever-growing legacy, to continue making some of the best animated features that we have seen and really prove how animation is just a form of art, much more than just a kid's genre or even more than just a film medium, to really show how animation can be a form of art. So, with all that said, I want to know from you guys. I'm going to be going down here at the chat wall to see, what do you guys think about John Lasseter's decision to step down in his position at Disney? Are you guys happy, good riddance that we got rid of a creep like John Lasseter, or are you going to miss him? What are your thoughts on this? So, let's see. There are some people that might think that, yeah, it's not, some people think, yeah, it's true, it may not be that bad compared to, some others, but, it seems but still, it is bad, but, yeah, it is true, compared to others, is not that bad, yeah, okay, so, I see, yeah, some people will miss John, well, let's see, is there anything else that people want to say? No? Suddenly the chat wall seems to be, oh, okay. May John Lasseter's legacy live on forever. Alright, yeah, I see. At least in the chat wall, I find that some people are going to miss him. Just a funny thought, how would you feel if John Lasseter decided to work at Sony for Sony Animation? Ooh. If Sony, well, technically, it would probably be a good thing creatively for Sony, but reputation-wise, it's not gonna look good for them. If they're gonna go and pick up John Lasseter, then yeah, I'm sure a lot of people, like, considering how there are still some people that are not okay with John Lasseter, like, I think they're gonna get a lot more crap than anything. So I think but honestly, in my opinion, I think it would be wise for Sony not to pick up John Lasseter. Like, if John can go his own path and, like, be independent, I think it will probably be for the best for everyone. So yeah, I think overall, I do see that. How do you think Cartoon Brew will react? I think, like, so far, Amity is going to be jumping for joy, considering that he's more insane about his hatred towards John Lasseter and, like, the leadership at Disney, more so than the way I would criticize Sony Animation and stuff like that. I'm sure, like, I'm sure, like, he's freaking ecstatic and he's going crazy on social media. I don't know, maybe that's not the case. I don't follow him anymore. Like, I'm still doing a great job staying away from Cartoon Brew and just listen to, like, real news and stuff like that. Yeah, and I see a lot of people, like, it seems like a big no-no. We do not talk about Amity. It's kind of like a curse word, you know? No, I do understand. Like, I would rather talk about stuff like Cloudy with a Chance at Meatballs over stuff like Amity. So, I do understand where you guys are going with it. So, yeah, so that apparently is the big news that we have regarding John Lasseter. So, with all that said and done, let's go ahead. And some people want to know, who is Amity? You don't want to know. It's just a bad person. Your life will be better without knowing who what Cartoon Brew or who Amity is. Anyways, let's just go ahead and move on to our next story right over here. Let's go ahead and try to lighten up the mood a little bit, because I know some people might be a little bit sad, or they might feel a bit angry emotions or stuff like that. But let's cool things down, and let's take a look about a movie announcement that I'm sure might excite a few people. But it does, like, either way, maybe you know about this property, maybe you don't, but it does sound like a pretty interesting idea. And what I'm talking about, of course, is going to be the Addams Family. Wait. Ooh, I could still snap with this finger. I'm actually pretty surprised. Well, honestly, the reason why I'm saying that is because, as you can see here, I got a boo-boo. So, anyways, yes, you see that little pretty picture here. This is going to be happening next year, but it is official. MGM has revealed a lot of information with their upcoming animated film that'll be based on the Addams Family. They provided what's going to be regarding the plot. We also know who's going to be among the cast, and we got a little bit more information regarding behind the scenes and stuff like that. And, like, we pretty much know a lot about what's going to be happening with this Addams Ooh, excuse me, that's my stomach coming up. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the Addams Family. I don't have a trailer. There is no trailer. As you can see, it was just a picture that I have. So, the big thing is, let's start by going ahead and read the plot, what it's going to be about. And this is coming from my source, by the way, from the Animation Magazine. And it states, directed by the guys that brought you Sausage Party. So that includes both Conrad Vernon and Greg Tiernan. Is it Tiernan? Yeah. Both Conrad Vernon and Craig Tiernan, from a screenplay by Matt Lieberman. The CG animated adaptation will bring the marvelously macabre world of Charles Addams cartoons to life in an all-new adventure which pits the Addams Family against a crafty reality TV host while they prepare for a big celebration which will reunite the extended clan. And in terms of the cast of who we have, we are going to see a lot of our favorite characters coming back with an all-star cast, by the way. First off, we actually got Poe himself, Oscar Isaac. He is actually going to be playing Gomez Addams, and then his beautiful wife Morticia will be played by Charlize Theron. Then afterwards, we got Chloe Grace Moretz, who is going to be playing Wednesday, and Finn Wolfhard is going to be playing Pugsley. While in terms of the other relatives, we got Nick Kroll, who's going to be Uncle Fester, Bette Midler is going to be Grandmama, and also the recent Academy Award winner Allison Janney, who won her Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for I, Tonya. She will be playing the family's arch nemesis, Margot Needler. Now, we don't have any other information regarding who else is going to be among the cast. We don't know the voices yet regarding Lurch and some of the other characters. But one thing that I will say for a fact, Conrad Vernon is going to be there somewhere among the cast. Because the funny thing with Conrad Vernon, if you have him among your animation crew, whether it be as a director or just helping out in the animation, he will be a voice somewhere. Like, you'll hear his voice at some point, rather it be in Sausage Party, in the Emoji Movie, or Shrek 2, or whatever, you'll hear Conrad Vernon's voice. And there are two possibilities. I feel like it's either Conrad Vernon is going to be voicing Lurch, or he's going to be voicing Cousin It. One of the two. But also, we do actually have a quote coming from Conrad Vernon himself, which actually says here, Greg and I have always been a fan of the Addams Family in the past versions. So when we set out to make this movie, we were excited to do something new. With that in mind, I drew from the brilliantly original Charles Addams New Yorker cartoons for the look of the film and decided to tell the story of how Gomez and Morticia met, find their house, and start their family. This unique approach is what drew me into directing the film. The remaining also extends to the stellar cast we've put together, who will each bring their own spin to our film that will appeal to longtime fans of the Addams and introduce them to a new generation. So what he is hinting out is that there is a possibility so far that we could actually see some changes within the original story of the Addams Family, like where we are going to see some new stuff that's going to be happening within the Addams Family. And also, let's take a look once again what we have here, our first picture right over here. And honestly, looking at the picture of the Addams Family, what we got, which, by the way, yes, the animation studio that will be working on it is going to be Cinesight in Vancouver. What is actually very interesting in terms of the look of the characters is that I feel like we do see several versions of like different art styles, but they all somehow connect together because it stays within the macabre style. And the way that I'm saying this, and what I'm talking about, is that when you look at some people, like, they look like they're done by different artists, but they all fit together. Like, here's a good example. Look at Gomez, and you look at Pugsley. I mean, especially with the way that they're wearing, like, a striped shirt and their eyes, they look like something straight out of a Tim Burton movie, or at least something that came straight out of some Tim Burton art. So, like, you got that look, but then also, you go over here and you take a look at Lurch. And with the way that he is designed and the way that, like, you got that weird icky green on him and, like, the shadowing and the tones on his skin, it kind of looks like he came straight out of the cover of Goosebumps. So you got a lot of different styles going on right over here, like a bit of Burton-esque, you see a little bit of Goosebumps, and you got you got all these different macabre styles, but they're all the macabre, and they all connect well together. But what's interesting though, even if they have different styles, they don't go far away from the original Charles Addams design. I actually got this, well, it's from a YouTube video, but this is a good look at all the Addams Family people right over here. Like, you see Lurch, you see Gomez and Morticia, you see Wednesday next to Gomez, you see Pugsley, and you also see Grandmama. I think this is Grandmama. It's either her or this. Oh, and as a bonus, you also see Cousin It, who's like the size of a pug for some reason right over here. Like, you do see that there is some familiarity, that this art style doesn't go far away from what we got right over here. So it is a mix of everything, but you do see the element that does work. You do see the element of the macabre, and you do see the elements of Charles Addams in there. And I will say that so far, this can look a little bit promising right over here. Oh my god! Oh wow! Okay, I just saw a comment. Someone just commented, "Oh, okay, that explains why Wednesday looks like a spoon." Okay, that is honestly true. Like, I know that Wednesday, she, like, ever since like the original Charles Addams drawings, you do see that like she has a bit of like a wide head. Like it's more like wide, well, not wide, but like it is tall more than it is wide. It's kind of like a really tall oval. But yeah, it is true that like it does look like a spoon. It does look like some kind of like Halloween version of like some of like the food characters walking around going, "Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby." So we got this like they pretty much made Wednesday look like a living utensil. It doesn't help either that her skin tone is completely gray. So honestly, I do see that a little bit, but honestly, I will say that at least in terms of a first impression, you know, this doesn't look bad. Honestly, I am rather impressed, and I am a little bit excited. I am excited to see like what they can do in motion. Like maybe this is not going to happen until like several months, but you know, I am curious to see a trailer of it or to see how the animation is going to go, just to see how these characters can actually come to life. So I am honestly pretty optimistic regarding that. And, the characters look good. And also, especially the fact that we do have a pretty all-star, but also very promising cast. Like, we do have we know that a lot of the original characters are here. But, the cast that we have with people like Oscar Isaac and Charlize Theron and Finn and Chloe Grace Moretz and Allison Janney and Nick Kroll and stuff like that. Like, it does give you a promise that they will give out a pretty solid performance and they'll be able to bring new life to these characters. So that is going to be pretty interesting. So with all that said and done, I would like to know from you guys, what do you think about this Addams Family movie? Are you excited for it? Do you have any concerns? Are you not sure about what's going to be going on with the Addams Family? Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? I would like to know what you think. But so far, I am actually pretty optimistic so far with what we are seeing with this new interpretation of the Addams Family. But there is one thing I will say, however, I wonder what... Oh, hold on. I wonder if they'll reference any of the live-action films in the movie, or... honestly, I could imagine that, because there have been a lot, that is true, because there have been a lot of Addams Family adaptations. Like, there have been several TV shows, there have been several movies, so it wouldn't surprise me if they will do some references to some of the others. We also got another question. How is Greg Tiernan still working after mistreating the animator? Yeah, okay. I do see some comments, and a lot of people are kind of alarmed about the factor of Greg Tiernan. And yes, if you guys don't know, during the time when Sausage Party was released, there was a huge controversy over the mistreatment of animators and how, especially Greg Tiernan, he was mostly ruling the studio a bit like a tyrant. So there was controversy that people were really having a bad time when it came to animating Sausage Party, especially with the fact that it had such a low budget, and I don't think they have been unionized. They haven't been unionized, especially in Vancouver. So it wasn't all that great. So I know some people are turned off over the fact that Greg Tiernan is actually still doing some work, but hopefully we can wish the best for the animators. Hopefully, like, especially after this controversy, he has learned his ways, so maybe he will improve upon it. And especially the fact that this is coming from MGM and not from a company like Sony, they will give them a bigger budget. So if this movie does have a bigger budget than Sausage Party, which is not that hard because I think Sausage Party had like a budget of $19 million. So if they have a bigger budget, then they'll be perfectly fine. They're not going to feel like completely rushed. They're not going to be the animators won't feel like they're going to be like overworking without pay and all that kind of stuff. So for now, like, hopefully we'll just hope that Greg Tiernan is he is hoping for the best and stuff like that. So for now, we'll just have to wait and see. But there is one thing that I will say, though, that I will have to criticize this whole Addams Family thing for. like, even though it's nice that we got the cast, we got a little bit of the story, and we got the nice picture right over here, I need to ask, where is my boy Cousin It? I don't see Cousin It. I want to see the new version of Cousin It. Come on. I'm sure they do have the budget where you can have a Cousin It. I want to see honestly, even as a kid, my favorite Addams Family character has always been Cousin It. I love the guy. I love Cousin It. He's just a lot of fun whenever he's on screen, in the TV shows or in the movies or whatever. So honestly, that's one thing I want to see. Where's my boy Cousin It, man? So yeah, that's pretty much everything that we got right over here with the Addams Family right now. And so, with all that said, though, now it is time that we shall go into the grand finale. And let me tell you guys, before I get things started onto that, let me just say that it truly has been an insane week when it comes to animation news and movie news and all that kind of stuff. It really has been. And I mean, there have been a lot of great stuff that has happened, especially with some of the news, and also especially with the trailers that we got, with Wreck-It Ralph 2, with Spider-Man, with Lego Movie 2, with How to Train Your Dragon, and all that kind of stuff. So there have been a lot of great news, but we've also had a lot of bad news as well, and a lot of shocking news. And at this point, it really is something that, it really was a moment where even though the threat was considered a fake, there was a death that actually did happen. And that death is the reputation of the cartoon community. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to go into the CalArts shooting threat. Now, what happened was that on Monday, on June 4th, the California Institute of the Arts had to close down the school because they have received a death threat on social media where one person on Twitter threatened to shoot up the entire school. Now, luckily, there is a bit of good news that I'm going to read my source here through the Daily Dot, saying that the university wasn't in session at the time of the threat, but administrators decided to err on the side of caution, and the campus was closed while law enforcement investigated. CalArts posted an update at 6:30 p.m. on Monday to say there was no credible danger. So with all that said, you might be wondering, why would someone cause a shooting threat or some kind of threat to CalArts? Well, the reason why is because of this tweet right here from @ScrumpAdmin saying that some of you guys are all right, don't go to CalArts tomorrow, with a picture of a smiling man and a few bullet holes. And the reason why the reason why ScrumpAdmin is doing this is because of a commentary. This is his form of commentary over the CalArts style. And the thing is with ScrumpAdmin, I would also like to add, is that he has been known to be a far-right Trump-supporting troll. And the reason why he is a part of the far-right is mainly because he has done some previous trolling tweets before, pretty much treating mass shootings and school shootings like it's all fun and games. Because who else but Trump supporters and the far-right, they would go and treat, they would treat mass shootings and school shootings as if it's all one big joke, and that they don't care about people, and that they even prefer guns than people. And there was one tweet that he did beforehand where he joked that apparently the mass shooter at Parkland, apparently he missed a few people, showing pictures of Emma Gonzalez and David Hogg, who actually were students at the high school and actually did survive. And now they have a reputation of being known as real Americans and being activists to go and pretty much stop the current gun climate that's in America right now, and to have a demand for strict gun control, which every mentally functioning human being knows is what America needs right now in order to stop all these mass shootings. So from there, yes, it's because of the CalArts style that ScrumpAdmin decided, hey, you know what? let's go ahead and try to make a death threat at CalArts because of this CalArts style. Now, to give you some description of what the CalArts style is, in case you don't know what the CalArts style is, this is what the cartoon community is using right now to describe the current cartoony style that some TV shows are using. And by TV shows, I mean the ones like Adventure Time, Steven Universe, The Amazing World of Gumball, Gravity Falls, and so much more. This pretty much exploded when Cartoon Network announced Thundercats Roar, and that show actually has a new stylistic approach, which is a little more similar to shows like OKKO and Steven Universe and all that kind of stuff, and that's where it pretty much came from. That's where people call it the CalArts style. But why is it called the CalArts style in particular? Well, that's the thing, because people who call it the CalArts style are also the morons of the cartoon community, because those people think that, oh, everybody who is successful in animation, they all attend CalArts. They think everybody who, they think all animators, they're born out of CalArts for some reason or another. There is no such thing as any other animation school. There is no Sheridan. There's no nothing like that. It's just CalArts for some reason. And that's pretty much the main story. It's because of the CalArts style that it would go as far as, pretty much it encouraged at least one person to go and make a shooting threat at the entire school. And yeah, and some people are even commenting that there are some very successful animation people right now. They haven't even gone to CalArts, like Rebecca Sugar, which a lot of people use Steven Universe as an example of the CalArts style. She never even went to CalArts in the freaking first place. And honestly, this was the moment that this week I was really pissed off at the cartoon community. I am not joking. This really made me furious about them. And the reason why I say that is because I'm going to ask you a one big question. One question, and I want you to listen to it carefully and really let it sink in. With the climate that the cartoon community is right now, is it really that surprising that it would go so low to the point that it would encourage someone to make a shooting threat? Really think about that. Because really, I am just sick and freaking tired right now of how the cartoon community is acting and how really they're just so, how they always seem to be this angry group of people always getting pissed off at whatever. Honestly, it's getting absolutely ridiculous, because even though this is just one person who made a shooting threat, I feel like the whole cartoon community should actually feel responsible for stooping to this low, achieving to that, because it has been so ridiculous. At this point, people freaking out about the godforsaken CalArts style. How people got so mad when they announced Thundercats Roar and just went bombastic all over the internet, slamming not just the show itself, but also on Cartoon Network, on all the other series, and even going as far as freaking attacking all the animators and the artists who would work at either Cartoon Network or Warner Brothers Animation or whatever. And honestly, it is so freaking tiring to hear them complain about Cartoon Network reboots. How they're always framing it as like a freaking cancer of animation. And you know exactly the ones I'm talking about. It's not just Thundercats Roar. The amount of people who would just complain about Teen Titans Go or the Powerpuff Girls reboot or Ben 10 or whatever. People are just so freaking pissed off about it. And honestly, it has been to the point that it is so insane how angry they can get. And they could go as far as freaking attacking people And you know what? This is why I honestly feel like the cartoon community is much worse than Star Wars fans. Because yes, it is absolutely terrible what some Star Wars fans has done to actually harass who is it? Kelly Marie Tran, the girl that Kelly, the girl that played Rose. Like, they would constantly harass her to the point of her quitting, not social media, but like deleting her Instagram. Like, that is bad. But what makes the cartoon community worse is that they actually do this on a common basis. They actually do, this is actually quite common in the cartoon community, where you got so many angry butthurt fanboys that they would commonly go and attack a lot of the artists and animators working hard every day. And for what? Because, like, fans are getting angry and they decide to give them crap. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. It is almost as if they have not learned from the mistakes done by Mr. Enter, in which it crippled his own reputation, where now it's almost as if they still believe it's okay to go and harass people if they feel like they did a bad job on the writing or on the animation or on whatever. If they made a bad episode, then they should be punished then by being attacked on freaking social media to go after them, and like even going as far as making freaking death threats. It is absolutely insane. And you know what's even crazier? You know what makes those people even more ludicrous, where you feel like they might have actually have some kind of mental problem, is the fact that they often do not see what they're doing is wrong. Like, the way that they are presenting themselves, they think that everything they're doing is perfect and that they're doing it for the greater good, and that they think that even their mannerisms are perfectly fine. Because they legitimately think that by harassing and attacking, like, the writers and the artists and animators and all those people, like, they think they're giving out legitimate criticism. Like, they think they're acting like freaking real critics for some reason. And and God forbid, if the artists decided to go and stand up for themselves and they decided to say no to them, like, if the artists decided to stand up to those bullies and call them out on their crap, oh, let me tell you, the cartoon community, those are the kinds of people that they cannot handle criticism whatsoever. If you talk back to them, it will only fuel more of their rage, and they will keep attacking you. They will keep harassing you. Like, go even further and try to demonize you and frame you, and even taking your words and try to twist them in order to take down your reputation, because they don't want to admit what they have done is wrong. And then, like, really, they want to destroy everything about it. And that's the biggest problem, is that the cartoon community thinks that they can go and attack whoever they can if they feel like a certain show or a certain movie is bad. And it doesn't just end there. They don't just attack, like, the people working on the show. They will even go as far as attacking anybody who would speak positively. Like, they will go out of their way to make enemies with anybody who disagrees with them on a certain show. Like, here's a good example, and this actually did happen to me once on social media, where there was this one person on Twitter. He acted like such a freaking idiot, because I saw suddenly that he actually made a tweet saying that he wanted to give me a second chance, but I apparently blew it because I was defending what he was saying, Toddler Titans Go. And I pointed out to him, it's like, can you reread what you just said? Doesn't that sound a little silly? And he keeps trying to defend himself on this case, because apparently he feels like this guy is deliberately going out of his way to go and make enemies with anybody who doesn't slam Teen Titans Go. Like, he truly thinks that Teen Titans Go is the worst thing ever, and anybody who says anything positive about Teen Titans Go, then they deserve to be treated like how Roseanne Barr made that racist tweet, or treated as if how John Lasseter gave those awkward hugs and all that kind of stuff. It is absolutely ridiculous. But let me tell you guys, if there's one thing that I am really pissed off at the cartoon community, and this is on a personal level, is how the fact that these people, they are freaking hypocrites. And I will ask you, and I will tell you why that many of these people are hypocrites. Those people, they do not mind with the current treatment, with how Teen Titans Go is being treated, with how the Cartoon Network reboots in general is being treated, with how Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon is being treated. Yet they come at me trying to say that I'm the bad guy for the way that I criticize Sony Pictures Animation? Are you freaking nuts? Now, I am not saying that you should agree with me with my criticisms towards Sony. I do understand if you don't agree with me. If you are a fan of Hotel Transylvania or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, that's perfectly fine. I have a lot of great friends, even some of my best friends. They do like Sony, and they do like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and it's okay, because it's just, they're just movies at the end of the day. It's nothing to really get at each other's throats about. But my God, with the way that I'm being treated, for some reason they feel like what I've done is somehow way too far with Sony Animation. And honestly, this is not my opinion. This is honestly a fact that the haters of Teen Titans Go, Thundercats Roar, the CalArts Style, and all that stuff, they are far worse than me, than how I treat Sony Pictures Animation. I will admit, yes, there are some things that maybe I could be way too brutal to Sony Animation, but you have never seen me go as far as harass any of the animators, any of the directors, or even attack anybody who says that they like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or Hotel Transylvania or stuff like that. You don't see me doing that on a common basis on social media, do you? No, of course not, because at the end of the day, they're just freaking movies. And my God, some of the criticisms that they are, not the criticisms, some of the complaints that I got about how I treated Sony and how they're saying that it's the worst thing ever. My God, is it freaking bullcrap? Like, oh my God, they get so butthurt over the way that they would say things like, oh, AniMat's is terrible because he compared the Emoji Movie to Donald Trump. Oh, AniMat's is really bad because he said Sony Animation should shut down, but he doesn't care about the animators. Okay, here's one thing I could definitely tell you. Anybody who tries to say that, oh, AniMat's is bad for saying Sony Animation should shut down because the animators need their job and stuff like that, those guys are freaking liars. They do not care about any of the freaking animators whatsoever. Because here's the thing, you're telling me that you think, yeah, you seem to care about the animators and stuff like that, but you seem to be perfectly fine with how people are treating the artists and animators of Teen Titans Go, Thundercats Roar, and so much more, with the ways that they are getting death threats, with the ways that they are getting constantly harassed on social media. Like, you seem to be perfectly fine with that, and yet somehow I seem to be crossing the line with what I said about Sony Pictures Animation, even though I have never directly attacked any of the specific directors or animators and stuff like that. And even if I do point out some of the animators like Gendy Tartakovsky, I would give them criticism. And honestly, it is with stuff like that where I truly do believe that maybe there is no such thing as a problem with AniMat's. Because the thing is, here's the thing. Because I always get called out for being a Sony hater or for having an annoying bias. And honestly, it's because of the cartoon community where I feel like I hate the word bias. I hate when people use the word bias as a way to try to take down any of my credibility. Because honestly, people who accuse others of being biased, those are the people... those are honestly the people right there that they are actually the biased ones themselves. Because they don't want to hear an opinion that is different than their own. And I can tell you why. Because here's the thing. Imagine taking all the things that I've said about Sony Pictures Animation and you just switch it up to Cartoon Network, to Teen Titans Go, to the CalArts Style, and so much more. I can guarantee you that almost all those people who complain, stop bashing Sony or AniMat's a Sony hater, they would not complain whatsoever. I would actually be getting much more praise, and I would actually be getting 4 times more subscribers than I actually do now on my YouTube channel. If you don't believe me, look at all the other animation critics on YouTube and the way that they would constantly slam Cartoon Network, Teen Titans Go, and all that stuff, and he would go far more harsher than I ever would with Sony Pictures Animation, and they would get all the praise. And really think about that, because the thing is, how many people do you know out there that are considered bad reviewers or bad YouTubers because they have an annoying bias towards Cartoon Network, or that they are just nothing but a Teen Titans Go hater. So maybe I'm not the one with the annoying bias. Maybe I'm not the one who cannot handle criticism. Maybe they are the ones who just cannot handle hearing another opinion other than their own, because I'm not catering to their bias. That could be the major thing right over there. And honestly, the whole reason why I do bring this up about like the Sony, like the hypocrisy of the Sony animation thing, is because of the fact that honestly, this really does say a lot of how entitled the people in the cartoon community are. They really are entitled to the point that they value their own opinions over people. Like, if you do not, they would go after not just the artists and animators and anybody who made a bad episode of, like, SpongeBob or Teen Titans Go or whatever. They will even go after people who have a different opinion than them. And honestly, you want to know the legitimate proof? The one way to show how is it possible that people, like, honestly, it's just because their bias for Sony is the reason why they hate me. I'll tell you why. Here's the thing. Like, notice all the people who would give me criticism and that they would go attack me for the things that I've said about Sony Pictures Animation and stuff like that. Notice how they would never point out any other examples. Like with the Where the Dead Go to Die review. And I will say right now, when it comes to my review of Where the Dead Go to Die, I am honestly not that proud of it, and I have said a lot of things in there that I honestly really do regret that I have, because the thing is, I will acknowledge that I'm not a perfect individual. I have mistakes in the past, and honestly, I feel like my review of Where the Dead Go to Die is one of them, especially with the way that I went after some people that honestly I shouldn't have, and especially with the way that I went after Jimmy Screamer Claus, because at the end of the day, he is still an artist, he is still an animator, and honestly, nowadays, I still do wish him the best of luck in his career. And honestly, I will say right now that maybe Jimmy Screamer Claus is going to be a little bit depressed to hear this, but no, I don't think that When Blackbirds Fly is the second worst. I do actually find it to be pretty good, to be honest. But the thing is, those people who tell me that, like those people who hate me for the way I criticize Sony Animation, notice how they never point out Where the Dead Go to Die. Notice how they never say that, oh, I went too far with that review. They don't seem to mind that I would go after Jimmy Screamer Claus or any of the people that do like Where the Dead Go to Die the way they did. Because they're only focused on Sony Animation. They only want to go after towards their bias. That's the thing. And honestly, that's the reason why people who criticize me about the way I go after Sony Pictures Animation, they're all freaking full of crap. Because those are the kind of people that they cannot handle any sort of criticism whatsoever, or cannot hear any sort of different opinions. And honestly, I am just sick and tired of people going after me just because I have an opinion over a freaking animated film. I'm just sick and tired of it. The way that people would frame me because of that and spread out flat out lies saying that, oh, AniMat is arrogant. AniMat cannot handle criticism. AniMat attacks others. Shut the hell up. It's actually from those people who cannot handle criticism, and they cannot handle hearing an opinion other than their own, just transcended to someone else, because they're perfectly fine with the way that Teen Titans Go and how Thundercats Roar is being treated, because honestly, if they do think that my problem with Sony Animation is a bigger problem than what's going on with Cartoon Network and all that stuff like that, then honestly, they're freaking, at that point, they have issues. They really do, because they're not setting their priorities straight. If they really do care about animators, if they really do care about the hardworking artists in the animation field, then they should also be supporting the people that actually do work on stuff, even on things that they don't like. They should be showing support for people even like Tony Leondis, Larry Kasanoff, Jimmy Screamerclaws, and even the directors and the creators of Teen Titans Go and Thundercats Roar. And if they're not doing that, then they're just only choosing what they love to enjoy. And it's ridiculous. I am just sick and tired of the freaking cartoon community just doing that all the freaking time. And I'm just going to say right now, though. I'm just going to say, now, at this point, I know for a fact that this doesn't reflect upon literally everyone in the cartoon community. I think it goes without saying. Of course, there are some great people in the cartoon community, and there are some good things that did come out of the cartoon community. A lot of great friendships have been made, and also some relationships have been made from the cartoon community. But who I am targeting towards is actually the haters of the cartoon community. The people who spend their time spreading out hate, going out and be angry towards Cartoon Network, against freaking Nickelodeon, against Teen Titans Go, against the CalArts Style, against any of those things. The people who spend more of their time on hating on things instead of just enjoying time to respect others and to talk about things that they do enjoy. I'm talking about the haters. And honestly, if I could just say right now, to the haters of like Teen Titans Go, to Cartoon Network, and to Teen Titans Go, to Cartoon Network, to Thundercats Roar, to the CalArts Style, and to the people who hate me because of the way that I criticize Sony Pictures Animation, shame on you all. Seriously, shame on you all. You are nothing but a freaking disgrace. If there is one thing that I do not like more, like, with the way that you want to portray me, like, with the way that I'm overtly angry with Sony Pictures Animation, well, honestly, there's something more honestly, there's something even lower than that, and that is you, the freaking haters. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, and you should take responsibility with what just happened at CalArts. Yes, you are responsible for the shooting threat that did cause, and I don't want to hear any of that freaking bullcrap regarding, oh, well, that's just the action of one person. Oh, that's just a vocal minority. No. You stooped it, your hate, your uncontrollable anger has reduced the cartoon community to go so low to the point that this actually happened. Because I'm going to ask again, is it really that much of a surprise that the cartoon community would stoop so low where someone would actually make a mass shooting over, well, not make a mass shooting, but actually make a shooting threat over the CalArts Style? Seriously, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves attacking every single person over just little minor things that you don't like, and especially how you look so freaking pathetic. The way that you cannot handle criticism towards others, or that you cannot stand hearing an opinion different than your own. Rather it be, like, you have to be so pissed off over the fact saying that, like somehow you have to make enemies with people who say things like, oh, Teen Titans Go is good, or How Cloudy with a Chance to Be Balls is bad. You are a freaking disgrace. Seriously. This is shameful. And you have to reflect upon your own actions. And if you want to make the cartoon community good, you have to start by not hating on crap, by not being angry. Seriously, it's ridiculous. And if there are people out there that's gonna go out and make a freaking rant about it, trying to be against me and trying to say like, oh, well, AniMat's is wrong by saying this about the cartoon community, like, honestly, by doing that, they're gonna prove me right. Because it will show that they're going to be desperately defensive about it to where they're going to keep lying to themselves that they have done nothing wrong and that it's impossible for them to take any criticism. Really. I'm just sick and tired of all those idiots just going after, like, a cartoon show like Teen Titans Go, and I'm sick and tired of the lying bullcrap that people give me over freaking Sony Pictures Animation. I am tired of being called a Sony Pictures Animation hater, or that I have an annoying bias. Seriously. It's ridiculous. I do not have a bias against it, okay? I'm just battling against people who cannot stand hearing an opinion different than their own, and that somehow they think that only good can come from them. If they keep on yelling, like if they think that they keep on yelling and screaming on social media, then somehow a Teen Titans Season 6 will appear, which I will say right now. But seriously, it's never gonna happen. There will be no such thing as a Teen Titans Season 6. The cartoon community does not deserve a Teen Titans Season 6. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Seriously. And honestly, that is my take on the cartoon community. Because I am sick and tired of this idiotic frickin' crap. Does anybody have any questions regarding all this? Because I don't know if there's any more that I want to say. Because holy crap, this was something that's been bubbling in me for so long. Okay. When I review Teen Titans Go, the movie, will I disable the comments? No. Nah, I'm not gonna be that guy. Honestly, like, let those morons of the cartoon community, like, if they want to be, like, if they want to go, like, no, I'm not gonna do that. If they want to act like an idiot, then present them to go, let them present themselves as idiots and let them kill their own reputation. Yes! Trust me, guys, this was something that I've had in me for so long, like literally for months. Wow, I'm glad you guys enjoyed the rant, because yeah, like it's been bubbling in me for months, because honestly, I'm just sick and tired of how people are calling me out on the Sony Pictures Animation comments, and how people think that it's okay with how they're acting with Teen Titans Go and stuff like that. But, wow. That really is a lot. That honestly, I've been preparing this for so long. And let me tell you guys, there is one thing I do want to add, however. There is something, honestly, because of all this, that, like, honestly, the thing is, there was actually a moment this week that I forgot why I liked animation, because I was actually so mad at the cartoon community because of all this and stuff like that. I legit forgot, I talked to a friend of mine, and I forgot about why I even liked animation. And my friend, I remember when I talked to my friend, she recommended to me to go and watch a movie. And I was like, why watch a movie? No, just trust me. And the movie she recommended to me, I have it right over here, actually. It was something that I wanted to see for a while. It was this. Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. And this movie right over here, I would actually say it saved my love for animation. It really is a beautiful film, and a really thought-provoking film. And this is honestly the one that really did save my love for animation, to remind me who I am as AniMat. So really, so honestly, yes, I am back to I am back as the animation lover that I am, and all that stuff. And honestly, this was something that I've been holding on for so long, and man, I'm glad to just unleash it, So honestly, I will say right now, yes, this is not an advertisement. Go watch Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. It really is a beautiful film. But yeah, this really was something that I've waited for so long to just let out. And ever since there was that rant video of the problems with AniMat, it's just something that I've been holding in, especially when that video just showed a lot, honestly, a lot of that showed a lot of lies, and really twisting the words really twisted my words in order to view me as a bad guy, and how, oh, I'm terrible because I have an annoying bias for Sony Animation. Well, you know what? Screw you, dude. If you cannot handle my opinion on a freaking company, and yet you're okay with freaking what's going on with Teen Titans Go and stuff like that, you know what? Just screw you, man. Really, you don't, you're no different than any of the dumbasses in the cartoon community. So yeah, this was honestly something that I've been holding on for so long, and I'm glad that I finally unleashed it. So with all that said, I think, we've got an episode right over here. This was the podcast. We have quite an episode. So with all that said, I just want to say right now, thank you guys so much for joining me in this episode of AniMat's Cartoon Cast. It really was quite exciting. And with all that said, so yeah, honestly, I just want to thank you everybody for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. And have I? Oh wow, you're late. Did you talk about Joe Lasseter? Yeah, I did. Don't worry. This, well, at least on YouTube, this will be coming out on Tuesday. So with all that, no. I still have respect for Yoshi Player, but it's just that video itself wasn't all that great. So with all that said and done, see you later, dudes.